Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you're here with me today. It's a beautiful day. Our snow is just about gone for now. So hopefully we'll have a white Christmas still, but we've got lots of time. If you don't know who I am, I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body-mind expert, and I'm a shiatsu massage therapist, and I specialize in coaching women and helping them grow their holistic practice and heal their life and their family at the same time. So it's all kind of in a one-shot deal. It all works together. So today we're talking about the 4 steps that you can take now. Hey, body, nice to see you. The 4 steps that you can take now that'll help you have the best Christmas that you can, or holiday, or Kwanzaa, or Hanukkah, or whatever it may be. The best holiday that you can to help your family start to heal and help yourself start to heal too. So, okay, one of the major challenges that comes up around the holidays is that we fall into the old patterns of how we've always been. And you know this, you're aware of this. If you're any sort of empath or sensitive or aware of any sort of, healing or holistic pathway, you know it's our patterns that get in the way. It's doing the same things that we've always done. Now, the easiest way I know to start changing patterns is to put something into your life that makes you act differently. Sort of like putting a stone in a river. When you put a big, boulder in the middle of a river, what it does is it starts to change how the river flows. And then because the river flows differently, the banks change. Because the banks change, the wildlife that hangs out on the banks and eats the stuff on the side of the river, that changes. And when that changes, the predator-prey changes. It's a whole series of events. So step number 1, if you want to make sure you have the best holiday you can and start this healing process, is to look at one thing that you're doing that you know gets in the way of you being in a place of unconditional love and you not be so self-absorbed with how uncomfortable or unhappy or frustrated or scared or anxious or insecure you may feel. Step number 1 is to find a way for you to feel in balance inside of yourself. So I'd like you to take a moment and think about one thing that gets in your way of feeling good. For me, it's typically digestion and dehydration. Those are the 2 things that will hijack my inner world faster than anything. They'll make me cranky, irritable, unstable, inflexible, impatient, intolerant. Those are the 2 things that I consistently work on to keep at a good level. So once you kind of identify what's getting in your way from feeling good, you want to put something in place that will cause you to change. I like to call this setting yourself up for success. You want to do something that you know will motivate you, will move you forward to do the things that will make you feel good. So for me, sometimes money is the reason. If I put out a good amount of cash for something, then I've got this pull of, I don't want to waste this money. It could be time. It could be accountability with a friend. It could be anything that gives you just enough discomfort, that you make the decision now to put something in your life that will cause you to change. One of the best ways to do it is to get a coach. Find somebody who, is a little bit more expensive than you might be comfortable with, and pay them up front so that you have this motivation, you have this movement to change the thing that will make you feel good. For me, I like to pay ahead for things like juicing or for hemp oil, stuff that I know makes me feel good, that works on my dehydration challenges and my nutrition challenges and my gut challenges, and I invest in that. That's what investing is. Investing in yourself is when you put your money where your mouth is and you say, I'm going to use this to move me forward. So step number 1 is identify the thing inside of yourself, thing or things that keep you from feeling good. Step number 2 is to change something in your world, in your life, in your existence. Change one big thing. Maybe it's getting into a new relationship. Maybe it's driving differently. You know, sometimes I like to drive differently and use low gear. And to remind myself to do that, I keep my hand on the gear shift. So do one thing that will cause you, that will motivate and almost force you to change because it's so uncomfortable, you know, to not do it. So it's more uncomfortable to not do the healthy thing than it is to blow off the thing that'll make you feel good. So those are steps 1 and 2. Steps 3 and 4 are kind of similar. When you're in a good space, when you're out of your own way, that's what it means when they say get out of your own way. It means that you've done things that make you feel good and balanced and healthy. When you're out of your own way, you now need to look at some of the patterns or causes of discomfort in your family dynamics. Maybe it's you don't set good boundaries and you let yourself get victimized and other people let themselves get victimized. More than you're willing to tolerate, you know? You want to give, but you give more than you want to give. So maybe it's boundaries you need to work on. Or maybe it's recognizing that someone always comes in to your family and they always cause trouble. You know, so maybe that person is not having a good experience. And if you can change around their experience, then they won't create that drama in the family and the family will start to heal. Great example. A few years ago, it was suggested to me that I heal the relationship with my dad. And they said, look at it from their point of view. Help them do something that helps them feel welcome and loved and special and important. And by doing that gesture and putting that thing out there, it will change the energy. It'll change the dynamics. And I thought, you know what? That's such a crock. You don't know what you're talking about. But you know what? I'll give it a shot. So I thought about one thing that would make my dad feel really special. And it was getting him shrimp cocktail. Because nobody ever got him shrimp cocktail, but he loved it. But nobody else liked it. So I made an effort to go out and get the best shrimp cocktail that I could, you know, find or purchase with, you know, a couple different types of cocktail sauce because he was picky, so that my dad could feel like a welcome guest in my home. And because my dad felt more comfortable, our whole dynamic changed. So step number 3 is look at the thing that gets in the way of your family having a nice experience. And then you want to do just like you did with yourself, which was put a big rock in the river that forces everybody to adapt and change to a new pattern. You know, it's all well and good and say, well, I want to do this. I'm going to do that. This is a great idea. I should do this. That's really great. But until you actually put something in your life that causes you to change, it's going to be a lot harder to change. I mean, I hear all the time people say people don't change. This is just the way that they are. You know, that's really not true. When your hormones change, you change. When women hit menopause, they change. When, you know, you lose your job, you change. When your heat or your furnace cuts off, you've got a good reason to stay home. You're going to change. You change because there's a big rock in the river that's causing you to go around it. So do the same thing for this holiday, for this whole season. Put something big in the middle of it that will cause people to have to adapt in a healthier way. What my sister used to do to help with family dynamics is she would invite some of the sailors from the local Navy base to the dinner. And because we had other people there, we were all on our best behavior. We were all on a better behavior. Or perhaps it's making sure that this year you're not going to serve alcohol, because alcohol tends to be what gets in everybody's way. So if somebody wants something, you know, you can say, we're not providing anything. You can provide your own, or however you want to handle it. But you need to change the patterns. If you put one big thing, change one way that you do things, then everybody has to adapt to that new reality, to that new way of being, that healthier way of being. So I'm going to go over the 4 steps again. Step number 1 is what's getting in the way of you feeling comfortable inside of yourself. And then put a big rock in your river. Put something that causes you to change, that makes it more uncomfortable to not do the healthy thing than it is to do the healthy thing. So it's easier to do the thing that's in your best interest because you've got so much guilt or people pleasing or expense or whatever it may be. Use your weaknesses, use your flaws to motivate you in the direction you want to go, because they're really not flaws. They're motivations. Use them to your advantage. So for me, you know, I knew that I needed something that made me feel good to get to the gym. So I picked a gym that was a little bit more expensive. You had to commit for a year, and it had a sauna and a steam room. So I would go just for the sauna and the steam room, and that would pull me, that would drag me to the gym, and then I would start working out. So step number 1, identify what you do, what your pattern is. Step number 2, put a big rock in your river so that you're forced to adapt to it. Step number 3, now that you're out of your own way, look at the thing that keeps you, the patterns that keep you from having the healthy, well family that you want to have and holiday you want to have. And then 4 is put a big rock in the middle of that river too, so that everybody is forced to adapt and change to it. Those are my very 4 actually really easy steps, because you can make commitments to things that make you a little bit uncomfortable that will pull you forward. You don't have to have willpower, and you don't have to power through. You don't have to be Mother Teresa or better than everybody else. You just have to be strategic in the thing that you choose that will cause you to change. You know, if you want to work harder, the best way to work harder is to give yourself something that's more uncomfortable that you need to overcome. You know, maybe you decide to buy a new house and it's super expensive, and now you're going to have to work harder in order to keep it. Great motivation. You know, maybe you go in and you decide, you know what, I'm going to look for another job without a safety net. That's going to motivate me. You don't have to go to the extremes. You absolutely don't. But start thinking in that direction. What things can you put in place that will help you change your patterns now, so life doesn't come and slap you in the face because suddenly you lost your job or suddenly you lost your house because you were keeping up with your old patterns? If you're proactive and you do something now, hey Dawn, and you do something now that forces you to adapt to a different reality, then it's on your terms. It's with your rules. It's with you guiding the ship. It's not because it's being forced on you by your family being crazy. It's the shift. It's a paradigm shift. It's a thought shift from being, how am I being victimized and how do I react to being victimized, to saying, how do I make my impact on the world and how do I create change for myself and my family before I'm in dire straits, before I hit bottom? Because nobody really wants to hit bottom. They don't. And then we end up so paralyzed with insecurity and fear and discomfort that a lot of times we don't do anything. We end up trapped for decades. But if you say to yourself, I'm going to make myself uncomfortable now, I'm going to do something now that will cause me to make better choices and better decisions, do it. My favorite way is to get a coach or go back to school. When I'm ready to change my life, what I do is I put out a good amount of cash for somebody that I like and I trust, and that motivates me to do the work because I'm investing in myself. That's what investing in yourself and in your family means. It means that you put your money where your mouth is. And you say, I'm going to make myself feel so uncomfortable and guilty and weird that it's easier to do what I'm supposed to do, what I know will move me in the right direction, than it is to blow it off and stick with the same patterns and stay with the same life that we've always been living. Okay? So here's your homework assignment today. I want you to think of 4 things. 1, what gets in your way of feeling good inside of yourself? All right? 2, what big thing could you invest in, time, money, energy, whatever it may be, that holds you accountable, that pulls you to have to adapt to it so that you are adapting in a healthier way? 3, look at what gets in the way of having a great holiday and your family dynamics. And believe me, ours were really tense for a long, long time until we figured out how to heal this. So 3, look at what gets in the way. Maybe it's your dad, maybe it's your uncle, maybe it's your child, maybe it's your spouse. And look at things through their eyes. What would give them the most positive experience they can have? Or maybe it's boundary setting for you. And what will cause you, what will move you towards adapting to that new reality. So I want you to think of those 4 things, because over the holidays, I'm going to be encouraging you and holding you accountable to start putting them into place, because I want you to have the best holiday and to start healing your family, because you really don't have to live like this. It doesn't have to look this way. And we sort of settle for like, well, this is the way it's always been, so this is the way it's always going to be. And that's not true. That's a lie that they told you. Things can change, you can change, people change, we all change all the time. The key is putting the right things in place and doing it in a smart, strategic way that will motivate you to change in the direction that's in your best interests. Okay? I know today was a little bit of a long monologue, but I'm so glad that you were here. I'm glad you joined with me and stuck with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay? Thanks for being here. Bye.